Hi, my name is Rick Bloodworth, and today is day 4 of the challenge to read through the New Testament in 30 days. I hope that you have already been doing it, and if you have, you've probably been getting an excellent overview of the Bible in such a way as to where maybe you've never seen it like you have in recent days. Today's readings are going to be the 22nd through the 28th chapter of Matthew. Well, since this is the 4th day and you've had a little bit of time to be reading through the version that you selected, this might be a good time to talk about the different translations. And I thought maybe a story would be good to illustrate the point. A number of years ago, I came across a story of an American businessman who had flown over to Taiwan to meet with a group of Taiwanese business people. And because he didn't speak Taiwanese and they didn't speak English, they had to arrange for an interpreter. Well, one of the first things this American said as he got up to speak was this: "I'm just tickled to death to be with you today." Well, the interpreter looked at him, paused, and with a horrified look on his face, related to the Taiwanese businessman, "This poor man, he scratched himself until he died, only to be with you here today." Well, you can see the point. Sometimes things do get lost in the translation. That's why if, as you've been going through your reading, you're having a little bit of difficulty with some of the language that might be used, especially if you're using one of the older translations, this might be a good time to switch to a newer translation. As we mentioned earlier, there are a number of excellent versions that are written in modern English. While the King James Version is outstanding, the New King James Version may actually be easier for you to read, especially for younger people. The 1978 and the 1984 NIV versions are very good. The Revised Standard Version was done in 1952, and it's a good version. The English Standard Version was translated just a few years ago and is proven to be very accurate and very readable. And so there are things like that. The New American Standard and the New American Standard Update are two other versions that you might enjoy. But again, if you've been reading through and having a little bit of difficulty understanding what you're reading, get you a good solid version that has a good readability for you personally. Now, today's reading, Matthew chapter 22 through 28, has got an awful lot of things in it that are important for us to understand. You might have heard the phrase, "Render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar," and that's found within this reading. There are also parables on the kingdom of heaven, on the 5 wise maidens and the 5 foolish maidens. There's the parable of the talents contained within this reading today, ones that are probably familiar to you, but which you will enjoy reading again. And then, of course, this reading also has the arrest of Jesus, his trial, his crucifixion, his resurrection, and then his great commission to the 12 apostles. Now there's just 11 because Judas is no longer with them. But in the great commission, Jesus told them this: "Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you." The New Testament is a fulfillment of that great commission, the teachings of everything that Christ commanded his disciples to teach. That's why we're reading this, is because we want to find out what Jesus himself said makes a disciple and how we can be a good and faithful servant to him. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you'll enjoy your reading, and we'll see you tomorrow.